Hello, guys, it's Sandra from Inspired Keys, and I hope you're doing great. In today's video, I'm going to share my tips on how you can play an entire song without using sheet music. So, this is really for you guys out there who has been very much eye musicians. Now, when I come across people, I notice there's usually like a very clear distinction between the eye musicians and the ear musicians. And one way you can tell whether you're an eye or an ear musician is if you go for piano exams or whatever exams, whatever instrument you play. Usually, if you are an eye musician, you'll do really good with sight reading. And if you are an ear musician, you would ace in the oral exam component. I am the sort who fail miserably with sight playing. I just hate it with all my heart. I have failed an entire exam before because I failed my sight reading exam by 3 points. And yeah, that's just how bad it was. Like I passed everything else, I just failed my sight reading, and it was awful. Hate it with all my heart. I probably still kind of struggle with it. And then, of course, I'm the sort who sort of, I guess you could say, naturally am more inclined towards using my ears. Now, if you are an eye musician and you really wish you have the skill to be able to play a song without using sheet music, having to go find it, Google it, buy sheet music to play, and it's such a useful skill to have, then be sure to stay tuned for the whole of this video. Now, before we get started, there are a few things I would like you to do. Firstly, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the Inspired Keyboardist YouTube channel because I'll be teaching topics similar to this, and I will also be happy to answer your questions. I'll tell you more in a minute about that. So subscribe to the channel, but don't just subscribe. Hit that bell because that's the notification button, which also means that when I go live on YouTube, you're going to get notifications about it and you're going to be one of the first to watch it. And I often have perks for people who watch the video live because there are maybe discount codes that I give out, such as one that I'm about to give in a few minutes. And also, I would like you to either type into the chat box right now if you're watching this live, or if you have you're watching it after we have after this video is over, you can still key it in the comments below and let me know your worship keys questions that you need help with right now. What is it that you're struggling with? What questions do you have? What song are you working through that you're finding really hard to do? What's something you struggle with whenever you go for a worship rehearsal? Let me know, and I'm very interested to help you and answer your questions. I do answer these questions with priority if you ask me as an Inspired Keys Academy member. So I've created the Inspired Keys Academy, and it's basically a group of people who come together and we help each other get better with our worship keys playing, and you really get to improve in your worship keys playing a lot faster because I answer your questions with priority. We could get on a call one-on-one, so we could have a lesson every now and then. And I will, together with the other Academy members, give critique on your playing as well. So really would love to have you join the Academy. Now, in this video, I want to share with you a huge discount in this discount code. Just type in the discount code 199 to get the annual membership of the Inspired Keys Academy $100 off. Usually it's $299 per year, but if you key in the discount code 199, you're gonna get it for $199 only for access for the entire year. Massive discount, and even if prices go up in future, you're just gonna be sticking to 199 every year. So it's like, yep, you're just stuck with the low price forever, no matter what happens. So don't delay though, because this discount code will expire after my birthday, which is on the 3rd of May. So it's pretty much really soon because today is already the 1st of May as I'm recording this in Melbourne. So that's right. I hope to see you in the Academy, and let's get started with today's teaching. Now, today's teaching all began with a conversation that I had with Catherine, who is an Inspired Keys Academy member, and this is exactly what she says. Serving God using my learning in music is something I always include in my prayer. But I find myself not having good talent. Serving in praise team with other instrumentalists require good ear and flexibility. I am not good on both. I need hard work, practice, and practice in order to play fluently. Thus, there is a limitation in my serving as a pianist. And at another time, I was having another conversation with her in email, and I played a song, and she replied with, I was amazed that you can play the whole song without sheet music. I couldn't play it at all without the melody line and the chords. So this is Catherine. She's communicated that she needs sheet music, and she feels that she doesn't have good talent and that she needs hard work to practice in order to play it fluently. Now, I have big news for you guys. If you feel like Catherine and you feel like, yeah, you're not talented, you really gotta listen to this. I don't have talent either. The talent that you see, whatever it is that it constitutes as talent or interpreted as talent, it's been years of hard work at the back end, and you don't know about it because back then there was no internet, so you couldn't see me struggling and crying in front of the piano. Now, my piano learning goes way back. I think it's traced back to when I was 8 years old, and I'm old right now, really old. And so it's been that long since I started. And I am like a lot of people back in the 80s. We learned by classical training, and so clearly there was no like play-by-ear course or jazz improv, which I kind of wish I could do if I was a kid today, and I would just learn jazz straight away, but I'm still bad at jazz. And it's been hard work, and I want to tell you 4 different things that I went through. Just 4. I think there's more, but 4 different seasons of my life where I worked really hard to get to where I am now, where I'm able to play melodies by ear and play chords by ear. So if you give me a song right now and I was to listen to it, and provided it's not too difficult, right? Like most worship songs are written in a simple way so that people can sort of hear it and play it pretty easily because they want people to play and sing it in church, right? Like why bother writing a very difficult song that no one can sing in a big group? So worship songs in general are pretty easy from a music theory point of view. But there are 4 things that I went through as a piano student, as a musician, as a music student, since I was very young. So here's the first one. When I was in Singapore, we used to call it primary school. So I think I was in sort of primary 3 and 4 and probably 5 and 6. So sort of upper primary levels. And that would be when I was about 9, maybe 9 to 12 years old. I attended 2 kinds of piano lessons. On Saturdays, I would go to a teacher's house and learn ABRSM exam preparations. And so that would be the Associated Board of Royal Schools of Music. So that's like the UK system of classical music learning. And that would prepare me to play 3 pieces very well. Pretty much like 3 pieces for the whole year, which is really bad for music learning. Really, like we should never be just playing 3 pieces in a whole year, but 3 pieces really well, learn it well, classically trained, just get everything done perfect for that song. And then on Sundays, I would go to Plaza Singapura, which is the name of this mall in Singapore that's in Orchard Road, and I would attend Yamaha lessons. So Yamaha lessons are different from my Saturday class because Saturday class is a one-on-one class, very classical trained. Yamaha music is also classical trained, but it's the Japanese system. So I used to go for classes on Saturday and Sunday, guys. Like, talk about how I had no life. I don't even know what it was that I did for free time besides, like hanging around at the playground near my house. I just remembered I had a lot of lessons going on. So on Saturday, it was about 1 hour of lessons. On Sunday, I think about an hour. And on Sunday, it's group class as well. So the dynamics are a little bit different. So 2 times a week I went for classes, not forgetting all the practice I need to put in throughout the week in order to get ready for every weekend's classes, right? And then on Sunday, when I go for Yamaha classes, it's cool. I mean, I didn't notice back then because as a kid, you just kind of learn whatever you're told to learn, right? But I used to have Yamaha improvisation lessons. And it's a really cool thing because instead of just getting you to read music and just like play whatever is printed, I actually need to write my own music in. Like there are empty pockets of music scores, and here I've got an example that I pulled out from my library behind me. As you can see, all the music books that I accumulated as a student, and I was kind of sorting through it and going like, oh my gosh, this is so nostalgic. Like I went through this book and I cried over it, or I loved it, and whatever it was. And it's really interesting. Like as a music teacher now, just amazed and so curious about what it was that I went through. I wish I remembered it. I don't actually remember right now, but look at how we used to, and I think this, I mean, look at the handwriting, it's awful. It's probably like when I was 9 or 10 years old, and we used to have to fill in the chords, right? It's cool. And of course, it's not like fill in whatever you want. You actually need to make sure you know what chord it is for each bar, and then you need to fill in a consistent accompaniment pattern. So in this case, it's da 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 da, right? So it's like really consistent, as you can see. So yeah, we used to have to do things like that. So that was the Yamaha improvisation course, which made me realize, gosh, I was improvising from back then at like 10 years old. And it's cool because those skills must have got in my brain somehow. And that's why I found it easier to improvise when I did become a Christian at 16. And then I found like, hey, I guess I was just able to play the worship songs pretty easily because I'd put in all those hard work, the years of hard work. And yeah, I just wanted to show you all the other cool stuff we used to do in Yamaha because I probably should also tell you that I hated my Yamaha lessons on Sundays. And if you were to ask me why, I felt like the teacher didn't like me, and because I was a tomboy kind of girl, I never did wear dresses or skirts. I felt like a really ugly little girl, and all the other girls in the class, trust me, they wore the prettiest dresses. They had pretty long hair. I had short hair. I was a tomboy, and I was not outgoing. I kept to myself. I was really an oddball. And guys, go talk to my mom, and you can ask her how I pretended to have diarrhea every Sunday because I just didn't want to go for class. And then every time the lesson time ended, I would like magically not have diarrhea anymore. I remember that. It's awful. I hated my Yamaha classes. And look, there's so much that we used to do as Yamaha students back then. I don't know why I hate it. I mean, I'm so glad I went for it now, but look at what we used to have to do. I had to fill in like chord stuff. Seriously, this is cool. This is useful stuff that I never knew I'm going to put in, find useful as a music student today. I mean, look at all this cool Japanese text. No idea what they say. Honestly, we just kind of bought it because we had to, and all this music that we were playing, and this was one of the easier grades. And yeah, this is crazy. Yamaha improvisation lessons. I mean, perhaps if you have a chance to sign up for those lessons, you could definitely go for it. I will encourage you to, because what I noticed was when I went on to music school in future, in my A level music class, I realized that all the people who went for Yamaha lessons, they were able to improvise, unlike all the people who never went for Yamaha. So all of us who were very good ear musicians, we just at some point did attend Yamaha classes. That was cool. Those who never went for Yamaha, they just kept playing by sight and not by ear. So yeah, I had to go through that, and it was hard, guys. I'm telling you, I freaked out every Sunday and I hated those lessons. But because of God's grace and because my parents were strict, I just kept going for, I guess, a couple of years. And the second thing that I really did was that I used to sit at my piano for hours when I was, I guess, an early teenager. Because back then, at about like my 12 or 13, 14-year-old season, I was so into pop songs. Like, I was never the perfect classical student. I would never go crazy with Mozart or Beethoven. I would be listening to 98.7 FM, and then eventually to Chinese pop station Jiu San San. And I would be listening to all my favorite pop stars, right? And I would love the music so much that I would want to play them at home on my piano in a very natural way. Like, this is not practicing homework, not preparing for exams. This is just playing out of the sheer joy of music. And I was such a shy person that I would only practice on Sundays. Why Sundays? Because on Sundays my family will go out to do like groceries or buy stuff, and that was the only day where I could have nobody in the house. And I didn't want anybody hearing what I was playing because I was doodling around and just playing mistakes, and I was shy. I didn't want anyone hearing it. And yeah, I used to only play on Sundays when it comes to playing by ear. I didn't want people to hear the pop songs I was playing. But I remember just sitting and figuring out for hours like how to play my favorite tune, right? So it was like I used to like Enya, right? And so she has this. And so like I would take forever just to figure out no, no, no. Yeah, so that's like the process you have to go through if you need to play by ear. And you're just gonna have to make mistakes every 3 notes you play, and make a mistake again and correct it and correct it and correct it till you can get that skill quickly today if you persevere through. So, if you're going through a process like that, well, duh, we all have to. I think it's just the way it's designed. Unless you're a genius and a prodigy, most people have to go through a season where you just make mistakes like that, and don't give up, and you will be able to play by ear very quickly if you just keep at it. The third thing I went through was O-level music. So when I was 13 to 16, I attended a school called Methodist Girls' School in Singapore, and I was in the music elective program. So that means when all the girls would usually go for home economics classes, like where they learned how to sew and how to cook, this special group of girls who elected to be music students will go for music lessons instead, which is probably why I don't cook and I don't sew very much. Not a very homely girl, as you can guess. But in those classes, aside from learning about you learn from music textbooks, and you learn about the romantic era, musical periods, and musical analysis skills, and we definitely went very in-depth with music theory. We also had classes called oral lessons. And back then, in those oral lessons, we had to identify chords, we had to identify intervals, we had to tell what kind of keys were being modulated from what to what. So it was all ear skills. And so I sat through 4 years of oral lessons. So you would have classes where, okay, today I'm going to test you on identifying chords 1, 4, 5, and 6. So the teacher would just play any combination of those, like and then she would have to play that maybe 3 times, and then we would write on paper what they were. And lots of my friends struggled, I struggled, but I had 4 years to improve in the process. So today I'm able to tell you real quick that 6, 4, 5, 6, and that's the 4 chords. Why was I able to do that? Was I born a genius? No, I had to go through 4 years of O-level music elective program, oral lessons. And then the last thing that I wanted to share with you guys, although it's probably not the only other one, is that I started serving as a worship keyboardist for every year since I was 18. Now, I became a Christian at 16, but because of junior college and I needed to study for exams and I was in the choir, so there was just no time for me to join the worship team, I really started joining at 18. And since I was 18, I just served every year and I just kept serving. And there were so many years in all of those years combined back in my home church, which is Pasir Panjang Hill Brethren Church in Singapore. And seriously, it's like we played so many songs. And a lot of them are really awesome old classics like Above All, da, da, and The Power of Your Love, and all those awesome old songs which are great. And you can imagine that's like many years of service. And at some point, you're just going to be able to grasp skills when you have played for so many years. And, instead of giving up and saying, hey, it's hard, I just kept serving and serving. And if you have served for many years, I'm sure you must have attained some skill as well. So really, guys, the 4 things that I went through in my life, which are Yamaha improvisation lessons, which I hated, figuring out how to play pop songs, my favorite pop tunes, secretly on Sundays at home, spending hours doodling, and just making so many mistakes, O-level music lessons, as well as serving as a worship keyboardist for so many years. Every year, it's all contributed to the musicianship level that I have today. And the reason why I'm sharing with you my story in today's YouTube live video is because I really want to encourage you that it takes a lot just to grow as a musician. But it's a lot easier if you go at it with people. And that's why I created the Inspired Keys Academy, because I don't want you to go at it alone. If you join the Academy, you have questions you could ask us in our private Facebook group, and we could help each other, and it just makes the process a little bit more fun. I'm going to now break it into a few steps on what it takes for you to be able to play a song by ear without sheet music. There are basically 2 layers of the music that you need to be able to tell and you need to have the skill with. The first one is to be able to figure out the melody of the song, the melody of the song, like the tune of the song by ear. And I already teach that in a course that I created previously. I'll put the link below. It's called How to Play by Ear in 4 Steps. Now that one is specifically for identifying the chords of the melody of a song. So for example, What a Beautiful Name It Is. And if you know the scale degree numbers, this is in the key of D major. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 1 again. And if you are able to do that, you will be able to quickly be able to tell right? So that's the verse tune, and that would be 3 3 3 3 2 2 1 1 5 3 5 6 5 4 3 2, and then the chorus will be 4 4 4 4 4 4 3 3 3 3 3 3 2 2 4 4 4 4 3 2 1 6, and so you can translate everything into numbers. For me, I actually went through, because of Yamaha again, I learned everything in terms of solfege. So I would think of it as fa 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 mi 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 re re fa 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 mi re do la mi so la so fa mi re. So everything was translated into solfege or scale degree numbers, whichever it is, it works. Both of them work really well. So that's one layer of information you need to know. If you want to get good at that, click the link below and check out the How to Play by Ear in 4 Steps course that I created. The second layer of information that you need to know will be how to identify chords. So it's one of those things that I told you I went through in oral class back in Methodist Girls School, where you need to hear the chord and be able to tell, is that chord 1 or 5 or 4 or 6 minor or 3 minor. And that is something I know a lot of people don't have, but really wish to be able to have as a skill. And trust me, if you can figure it out like that, you will never need to Google chord sheets again. So like even for every song that I hear right now, I'm able to tell like that's chord 1, da 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 da. That's chord 4, da da. Chord 6, da da. 5, da 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 da. 1, da 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 da. 5. 6, 5, 4. Chord 1B, which is the first inversion. Chord 5, 6, 5, 4. And actually, worship music isn't really hard. It's pretty basic because once again, people write worship music, especially congregational worship music, in an easy way. They keep it easy so that it's easy to play for most people and it's easy to sing. So the tune's not going to be difficult. So step 1 is going to be easy. Step 2 is also pretty easy. And you know, you might feel like maybe you're not a kid anymore and it's impossible to learn. Well, I really believe that just like any muscle in our body, if you go to the gym between now and the end of the year and you work really hard, whether it is cardio or biceps, you're going to get really strong at that muscle by the end of the year. In the same way, it's the same with your oral muscles. Your ear is able to strengthen its muscles if you start practicing today. Now, if you need help with the chords, I do have a course called How to Identify Chords by ear, by listening. And I also have chord identification exercises, and they're all in the Academy. So in the Inspired Keys Academy, go and access those chords and listen to those chords and practice. I do have worksheets and answers set up so you can listen to it. It's like the same process I went through in my Methodist Girls School oral lessons. And I really believe that if you don't give up, if you really, really sit down and listen and practice, there is a very strong difference in the flavor of, for example, a chord 1 and a chord 4. That's very easy for me to tell. It's hard for you if you've never learned it or never sat down and really tried to practice before. So I'm gonna keep it easy for you, and I kept it at only a few chords at a time. And also I'll be happy to, if you join the Academy, give you further lessons on this if you feel like this is something you really need hand-holding with. So 2 things: identifying melody by ear, playing the tune, and identifying by scale degree numbers or solfege. The second thing will be identifying chords. Really, if you can do both of that, you can play any song without sheet music and just by ear alone. And now there are a few things that you will be a great bonus if you know. Number 1, how to play in every key. Or, I mean, there are 12 different keys, but maybe if that's too overwhelming, try to play it in at least 6 different keys, like, you know, the normal keys that are in the white notes. So play in the keys of C, D, E, F, G, A, and maybe even B, because B keys are popular with guitarists. So learn how to play in these 7 keys first. In order to do that, you need to be able to play through the scales of all of these keys. Now, if you really need help with how to play through the scales of all these keys as well, I have all of this training in the Inspired Keys Academy that's just waiting for you to access 24/7 as a member. The other thing that you will need to know is how to play in chord shapes that work well in worship keys playing. Because when you play in worship keys style, there's a certain sound and a certain flavor that makes it sound good. Like, for example, I will never ever play What a Beautiful Name with a style like so appropriate for contemporary music, I think. There is a way where you can shape your chords in a way that sounds more suitable for contemporary music. And once again, that course is also available in the Inspired Keys Academy. So you can try to figure all this out by yourself, or you can just go way faster and pick it up real quickly by joining the Inspired Keys Academy. So I'm about to finish today's video, but before I do that, I do want to remind you that for a super limited time between now and the 3rd of May, my birthday, you can use the discount code 199 in the annual membership plan to get $100 off. And so that's $100 off an entire year of access to the Inspired Keys Academy and priority Q&A sessions. So that's it for today. Now, if you have any questions, type it into the chat box or in the comments, because I will be getting back to you. And before I go, because I have no idea how to access the chat once I hang up, I'm actually going to look through what people have typed in. So thank you so much for joining me. I know Joshua, you're here, as well as Ali. Thank you guys. Now I'm here to answer Joshua's question. How do you learn to play in all D key? So once again, this is stuff that I learned back as a classical pianist, and I do have tutorials in the Inspired Keys Academy on how to play the D major scale. How to play, Joshua asks, how do I play independently on both hands? Well, I do have exercises that help build hand independence in the academy, and I might also go into some of these topics in the upcoming YouTube live video, so do stay tuned for that. Ali says, cool, good technique to be learned. Thanks, Sandra. You're very, very welcome, Ali. Now, you know what, guys? I'm about to go, but I do look forward to hearing from you in the comments below, or shoot me an email, sandra@inspiredkeys.com, and I want to know what it is that you want to learn, so I know what else to share in the upcoming YouTube videos. So take care, and I will hear from you soon. God bless.